You know, it's been a while since we dunked on kotaku because, I mean, it's not exactly been relevant for quite a while, but however, with the gaming industry being the state that it's in, these journalists are doing what they can to try and maintain any sort of relevancy, and then they wonder why they're getting laid off in droves when they write articles like the one we're about to go over. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and yes, we are truly about to look at an article titled, "Could we be about to enter a skippable boss fight utopia?" Yes, boss fights, one of the tenets of gaming really since the inception of the home console. We need a utopia without that tenet of gaming in the vast majority of games that have boss fights. I know, it sounds insane, and when you read through the articles because you realize it is. So we're going to go through this before we do hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day, and yes, South of Midnight has shown that it's possible without destroying the very fabric of the universe. And this is a very snarky and sarcastic article, so I, of course, am going to meet in kind with my own levels of snark and sarcasm, but note that the bar that they're trying to use, the very low bar is, in fact, South of Midnight. You guys, it's not gonna get much better from here. In a gaming world increasingly built out of Souls-likes, where the concept of boss battle becomes central game mechanic. Well, I mean, we're in the initial sentence. We're not finished with the first sentence. And their premise is that because of Souls-like games, the concept of the boss battle has become a central game mechanic. Don't think back to Super Mario Bros., where, you know, fighting Bowser in the big castle every fourth level was a central game mechanic, or, you know, Spyro the Dragon, where at the end of each world you would fight a boss character, or Sonic the Hedgehog games, where at the end of the second act of every level you would fight Dr. Eggman in one of his various machines, or any of the Resident Evil games, or, you know, Doom games, and the list goes on and on and on. And no, because of Souls-like, the concept of the boss battle has become a central game mechanic. These are the people that are wondering why they're losing their jobs. Some of us have been left behind. No, you've been left behind because you're not a real gamer. Remember Cuphead in the game Journalist Trials, everybody. I've always hated boss fights. You've always hated... Then, homie, play Animal Crossing. Play Stardew Valley. Play some old school arcade games where it's all about high scores. I don't know, but if you've always hated boss fights, something tells me you're just probably not a real gamer. I know that sounds elitist, but we are talking about a writer for Kotaku here, so I don't mind sounding a bit above him or her, whatever. I didn't even check. And while I have no interest in convincing anyone else to agree with me, then why are you writing this article? I have long lamented the lack of accommodation made for the many other people who are already with me, but sniff the air, something's changing. What do you mean the lack of the many other people who are already with you? Bro, boss fights in gaming have been a tenet of the vast majority of games for well over 3 decades now. I can't imagine there's too many people that are with you. Even fighting games have boss battles. Like, sure, you pop on Street Fighter 2, and yeah, you play and you fight Blanca, and you fight Kin, and you fight Chun-Li, but then every few fights, you get to Vega, or M. Bison, or Balrog. You know, these characters that weren't unlockable, at least in the original version of the game. They were just that, boss characters. I recently loaded South of Midnight. That was your first mistake. Interested to check out such a gorgeous looking game, and was immediately delighted by the art and the extraordinary performances in the cutscenes. But then, as Zach warned us, I was immediately underwhelmed by the repetitive combat. See, even Kotaku is acknowledging the repetitive combat of that game. However, while idly fiddling through the game's settings to see what was what, I saw a toggle I absolutely was not expecting. Boss skip option. Yes, for those of you that didn't know, because I'll be real, I didn't know, South of Midnight does in fact feature an option to skip boss fights. You know, one of the things that makes progression in the game and a sense of accomplishment and completion. Yeah, you can just skip it, because why play a video game anyway? Why choose to, you know, interact with this interactive medium and part of what the overall design was if there's just a journalist option to skip it? In 2017, I wrote one of the most controversial articles of my career, a career that you will not have much longer if things keep going the way they're going, a piece for which I received literal death threats alongside hundreds of more banal insults and wishes for my imminent demise. As someone battle-hardened by Gamergate, oh my dear Lord in heaven, he survived Gamergate. I mean, let's be real, Gamergate was practically the Holocaust. It takes quite a bit of scale of backlash to take me by surprise, and while I knew it would piss some people off, I didn't predict the volume. I wrote an article suggesting that boss fights should be skippable. Imagine my temerity. Yes, I didn't read this in 2017, or if I did, it's so long ago I blotted it from my memory. But it was retarded then, and it remains retarded today. There's so many games I've never seen the end of, but for YouTube, I suppose, because I just wasn't physically capable of completing the latter bosses. I'm gonna use an old gamer adage here. Get good, scrub. I've never finished a Metroid Prime game, for instance, despite it being one of my all-time favorite gaming series. How can something be amongst your all-time favorite series if you haven't even completed arguably the main entries in the franchise at this point? Yes, I get it. Metroid Prime didn't come out till, I believe, 2003 was the first one, if I recall. But over the series' long history, I would say at this point that the Metroid Prime games are the prime games in the franchise, the ones that people are most looking forward to, or most, definitely the most accessible, that had the most players. I mean, we are about to get Metroid Prime 4 coming out on the Switch 2 here pretty damn soon, and you say it's one of your favorite games in the favorite game series, and you've never once beaten a Metroid Prime game? Bro, I beat the original Metroid Prime when I was in middle school, when the game came out. I mean, I would not dare say one of my favorite series has, like, a majority of mainline entries of which I haven't beat. Can you imagine me getting the Resident Evil tattoo I have and saying that I've never beaten the original Resident Evil games, or never beaten Resident Evil 4, or Code Veronica, or 5, or whatever? Like, I can't actually even think off the top of my dome of a Resident Evil game I haven't beaten of all of them that I've played. There probably is one or two out there, but I can't think of any off the top of my head, because let's be real, there's a lot of games in those series. But same can be said for Sonic, or Spyro, or Legend of Zelda, or even Smash Bros. If you can truly beat a Smash Bros. Game. I mean, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make sense to me to label something one of your favorite franchises of all time and you not have been able to complete any of the mainline games. Now, I understand not everybody can beat every game. Maybe there's some that are, but to have not beaten any of them? Like, you gotta be shitting me. There are other games I've been enjoying so much, but just had to abandon because every so often there'll be a difficulty spike out of such enormous disproportion that eventually I'd lose all will to try. I've ran into this. I think we've all ran into this. I remember Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't remember which boss it was. It may have been Sephiroth. Either way, I remember Kingdom Hearts 2. I was getting my shit kicked in by a particular boss. Guess what I did? Decided to stop fighting the boss, go back and grind and level up, and then once I once I felt like I had reached the requirements necessary to try and take the boss on again, I did. And you want to know what I was able to do? Beat the fucking boss! And to be abundantly clear, this isn't just about my incompetence. Oh, honey. There are obviously a billion boss fights I've successfully completed, but almost none I've even vaguely enjoyed. Maybe, and this is just an astute assumption on behalf of but a humble YouTuber and gamer. Maybe you're just not a real gamer. Maybe you're only in this racket because you thought it would be your stepping stone to politics and you didn't foresee people calling Kotaku on the craptastic site they are, and gamers with actual voices who actually love gaming to overtake the gaming zeitgeist on the internet and leave you and all your cohorts out of a job. Like, that's where it really is. You were like, I'll go ahead and write about video games because I'm tangentially familiar with them because they have been part of mainstream culture since at least the mid-90s, if not the mid-80s, and then I can just use this as a way to put my politics into the gaming space, and from there, get a job at the Washington Post. But that's just my assumption. For me, and millions of others, they're mostly tedious obstacles to get in the way of enjoying the rest of the game. I would like to see your source on the millions of others. So it struck me, why not just let me skip past them? Who loses out? Well, for one, the developers. The developers lose out because gaming is art, and they crafted a game that has boss battles for a reason. Why? Maybe there is character progression that comes from that. Maybe Cloud is only able to grow as a character because he is able to defeat Sephiroth, and that is a big pivotal moment for him. Or you could just skip it and treat it like a fucking movie. Well, if that's the case, why not just make it a movie? Why not just watch a movie? Or maybe there's a sense of satisfaction from the player. Gamers often enjoy overcoming obstacles. That's why we play games as opposed to just watch movies or read books or comics or whatever it may be. We like to challenge ourselves. And so the overcoming of the obstacle that is the boss fight, and it's called a boss fight for a reason, gives us what we are craving in said interactive medium. I'm gonna be real. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume the vast majority of folk are going to be on my side and not yours. But the fact of the matter is, it's a fundamental thing about game design. There's a reason the majority of mainstream games that aren't comfy games, have a boss fight mechanic to them. It's because they're kind of fucking integral to game design and what the game is trying to do and teach you and progress forward, whether it be for story, whether it be for teaching you how to play the game, whether it be for a sense of, leveling up your characters, showing progression within the game. There's a myriad of different reasons that all coincide with one another. But again, you're too retarded to understand that because you basically want every game to be game journalist mode of the game where you can just skip through everything so you can write your trash-ass article and get it out within the 2-day deadline or whatever it is that you have. Because, let's be real, you got to get a bunch of these out since you're getting paid, what, $25 per article? Let's be real, not a sustainable business model. Oh my goodness. 2017 was very, very angry people. For reasons never quite comprehensively elucidated. My apologies for me being retarded there for a moment. My being able to carry on playing a game I like without finishing a specific fight causes them great personal injury. Well, no, it's because you're writing about games, speaking as an authority on games, whilst proving that you're not a gamer if this is the mentality you have. To skip over a boss is, I was told, both a moral and physical affront, and the addition of such an option would very likely destroy video games, if not all of society. And yet, in the months since South of Midnight release, I have yet to witness the collapse of humanity. In fact, I've heard only very few people talking about it. Let me add some cases to why you've heard very few people talking about it. This is why. Because no one fucking played the game. 104 players right now. An all-time peak of not even 1,500 people. In the last 24 hours, not even 300 people. Guys, this game has not even been out a month. Let's be real. The game is an abject failure. So the reason only very few people have talked about it is because only very few people have even played the fucking game. It really is that simple. This is not the first time a game has offered a way to pass tough spots. A fair few big-name games have had options to let you skip entire missions should you fail them enough. Red Dead Redemption 2 and Days Gone, for instance, while many others will offer to lower the difficulty if you're failing, but it's still vanishingly rare, and South of Midnight is the only instance of specifically being able to skip the bosses that I'm aware of. Let me know if there's other examples. You were a journalist, and you couldn't even do the due diligence to do a simple goddamn Google search to see if there's other instances? You have to let the 12 people in your Kotaku audience that are going to read this article do the work for you? Are you out your damn mind? I mean, okay, at the end of the day, the point that I'm trying to make here is that, it feels good to be a gamer. It feels good to be a real gamer. It feels good to know that these fakers, these posers, these elitists posing as the individuals who are supposed to be able to impart you with the knowledge and wisdom because they are oh so up above you, because they are the upper echelon of gaming criticism. They are the chief mon capitans, are just, as we have all called them, losers, fakers, as I just mentioned, posers. These people that have no authority, and they want to pretend. They want to just live in this fantasy world where they are some sort of authority on the hobby that we all love. Meanwhile, what are they out here doing? Writing articles about why video games are too hard by following a model that video games have followed for 30 to 40 years now. Maybe you're just trash. Maybe you're not a real gamer. Maybe you do need to get good, scrub. There's a reason that gamers have used terminology like that for the last God knows how many years. It's because when gamers are talking to other gamers, people that understand the hobby, people that love the hobby, people that want to include others in on the hobby so long as, they also actually have a love and a respect and reverence for it. Yeah, maybe you just ain't one of us and you're trying to worm and weasel your way into somewhere you don't belong. Why? I don't know. Maybe you're a Trojan horse. Maybe you're just, like I said earlier, trying to get that big break at the Washington Post and you're looking at gamers as a sleazy stepping stone that no one's going to miss when you step all over them. Well, whatever. All I know is that moments like this, articles like this, are the reason there's only like 30 of you guys left in the entire industry. While you're all pulling double duty, writing for all the same outlets, and then also, just grasping at straws to maybe get something unrelated for Rolling Stone because you can't sustain working at just Kotaku and The Gamer and IGN or whatever it might be all on its own. We're right, you're wrong, we're thriving, you're absolutely failing, and I am so glad that all of your cohorts and partners in crime have lost their jobs, and I truly, and I mean this, I truly hope you lose yours as well. Go work at fucking McDonald's, go work at Starbucks, maybe, just maybe, put on some muscle mass by working at a goddamn warehouse with no air conditioning during the summer or heat during the winter, like so many of the rest of us have had to do our entire lives, because, we don't have these, this upper class mommy and daddy who was able to get us into journalism school and pretend that was going to be some way to actually move society forward. No. once you're out there and you're handing me my french fries while I get to come back here and make these live streams and, talk to actual gamers about actual games, or not just gamers, but people in nerd culture in general, only then will all be right with the world. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, or you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Not always about the gaming industry, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon and become a member. For $4.99 a month, you can join the Discord, choose the articles we go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos we react to on the Sunday live streams, and of course, get involved with over 190 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. But only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.